All right, we should be good. Okay, today's date, guys, it's going to be January 18th, 2023. And as we move on, this is going to be part two, Road to Super Bowl 57. Want to give a big shout out to everybody watching today. Me, boy Franklin, today here from the Franklin Crocker Show. As
Sure.
usual, stopping through. Much love, much love. Um, it's been a crazy wild card weekend. Before we get into the divisionals, let's talk about let's talk about this wild card weekend. First, we'll start with the Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy trailed for a little bit. Everybody was hopping on that Seahawks bandwagon. Everybody was talking crazy and reckless about Brock Purdy. The man comes back, shows out. They take it 23-41. Then, of course, we had Jacksonville. They were down. Epic comeback by Trevor Lawrence. They beat the Chargers 31-30. My Bills Mafia against Miami. This was a crazy one as well. Had everyone on the edge of their seat. They come back, win 34-31. Most surprising one as well. Daniel Jones and the Giants. They take care of the Vikings, beating them 31-24. And the one that was really shaky, the Bengals and the Ravens. Bengals sneak by. They snuck by. I feel like Lamar Jackson, if he was in, they would have won that game, but the Bengals take 24-17.
I agree. All those games, and I'm gonna tell you this: we have our Bills Mafia hats, and we got our Bills hats on. That game, if I had a pacemaker on, I might have been in trouble. I was actually with a bunch of friends, and I said to myself when it was up 17-0, I'm not comfortable with this because of the game I seen the night before with the Jaguars. If I didn't see that game, I would have been happy with 17-0. But after I seen that game, I said, I can't get comfortable with this. They were down 27-0.
Yeah.
To come back and win the game. That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence did his thing. And it was funny because they were making jokes about him like, oh, loses on Saturday. Guess what? He still hasn't lost on a Saturday.
He Trevor Lawrence not lost on a Saturday. And it's so funny because I dropped the it wasn't a meme, but it was like a stat sheet on the community post. And people were like, oh, well, he's gonna lose this Saturday. And I know they were just gloating over feeling that way. And here's the thing. I feel like we're at a point, not only in the season, but we're at a point in people's career talent-wise. The NFL talent-wise, there was no true dominant team this year. I've been saying that. You don't know what's going to happen. The team could be down 30 points and come back and win the game. We've seen it. So your team being up by 20, 25 points, 30 points, it doesn't matter because the other team can come back. Now, obviously, Mr. Tom Brady couldn't do that. We did expect Tom Brady to possibly come back. He got taken care of by Dak Prescott and company. That score was 31-14. But it just goes to show, the people that we thought were going to come back didn't come back, and the people that we didn't think were going to come back, they did it. So it was a complete switcheroo on us fans for the wild card weekend.
And I feel bad for Tom, man. I'm not gonna lie. People hate me because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, but I'm a Tom Brady fan as well. I love his story, but I feel bad for Tom because, again, I don't know his personal life, and I know a lot of that does have to play with his game. Again, people think the game is all physical. Yes, it is physical, but it's mental. And if you're not in the right headspace, it's very tough to go out there in the field to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
But to me, the reason I feel bad for Tom is if they said, they said that his decision was either playing football or staying with his family. He chose to play football. If that's the case, Tom, you made a bad decision, dog. Go back. Go grab Giselle, man. Like, it's over. Finito. Stick a fork in it, man. You got 7 rings. Call it a night. It's over.
So here's I actually dropped a video about that months ago, right? When the whole thing happened, when him and Giselle were deciding to split and figure out where the assets were going to go and the Antonio Brown situation and all that stuff. I said at that time that Tom Brady basically needed to prove that he still had it for the divorce and everything that happened to be worthwhile, not only to himself, but to the world, right? The world was involved in that. People don't realize when this kind of stuff comes out and this kind of news and this kind of like, I want to say environment happens, right? For the sports fans, because they're so delved into someone's life that they don't realize that, yeah, like this is this man's life. He's getting divorced. He's got to figure out what's going to happen with his children. The whole dynamic changes. So now I'm saying, okay, Tom, you got the divorce. You're back now, and with your true love, you've got to make it to the Super Bowl, or everything that has happened is going to be in vain. And here we are today.
So, hopefully, and again, and I get it. At this point, it's not about the wins. Tom, you're considered the greatest player of all time to play the game. It's ego at this point. It's all ego. Yeah. There's nothing else, in my opinion, but ego for Tom to prove. And maybe it's ego or maybe even to prove to the Patriots, New England Patriots, Robert Kraft or Belichick, that he can still do it again without them. But whatever it is, I don't think it's enough to leave your family. That's just my opinion. My opinion only. I've been divorced before, so I don't think I'll choose football over my family if that was the case, especially after having 7 rings. It's a different story. So,
no, I think you've done everything that you needed to do. You've accomplished a lot, and you have records that people will not break, or if they do, it'll take a long time for it to happen. So you've done everything that your talent would allow you to do. Yep. You just didn't make the right decisions or the right life choices at the end of your career, and unfortunately, you're going to have to live up to that. Sure. So. With that said, moving on, we're going to go ahead and get straight into it, guys. We're talking NFL playoffs, divisional weekend. First game, Sunday. That's going to be let's pull this up here. Yep, it's going to be your Jags and the Chiefs. That's going to be 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard on Saturday. And then after that, the night game is going to be the Giants versus the Eagles at 8:15. Then Sunday, we have the Bengals versus the Bills at 3 o'clock, and then the Cowboys versus the 49ers. Let's go ahead and get into Jaguars and these Chiefs. This is going to be an interesting one. I don't think it's going to go how everyone is thinking it's going to go. Ooh. I feel like Trevor Lawrence has been given some I want to say mental prowess, right? He's been given that courage now, that fight, that heart, that I can do this. I'm a quarterback in the NFL. I've got a great team behind me. We're in the playoffs. I don't care about Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna ball too. I think we're gonna see a light show. And I feel like it's gonna be a wild one. I'm not giving my prediction just yet because I want you to talk about it, but I feel like it's going to be a wild one.
Oh, man. Trevor Lawrence. Be honest with you, I'm going to give you my personal opinion. I didn't think he'll get this far, be honest with you, this season with his offense that he has. Not the best of offense in the world. Not saying it's the worst, but it's not the best in the world. I didn't think he's going to get this far. So kudos to him in regards to doing that. But we're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has proven, he probably will get MVP this year. Yeah. It's going to be a very tough game for them. They're playing on the Jaguars are playing on the road. Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game. And it's going to be probably a little chilly in KC. It's not going to be, it's not going to be as warm as playing in Jacksonville. I don't think Jaguars have anything for KC. Now, because of the AFC division, I want the Jaguars to win. I'd rather the Bills play the Jaguars after we beat Cincinnati.
Right.
But
right.
I don't think it's going to happen.
So, I mean, obviously, we get into the matchup predictor. It's 21.5% for Jacksonville, 78.5% for Kansas City. Trevor Lawrence, 4,113 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Right. Patrick Mahomes, 5,250 yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Rushing side, we got ETN with 1,125 yards, 5 touchdowns. Pacheco, 830 yards, 5 touchdowns. Kirk with 1,108 yards on the receiving side, 8 touchdowns. Travis Kelce, this man's a beast. Almost approaching Gronk. Almost. I really think he's approaching Gronk status. We'll have to see, obviously, what they get, what he does in the playoffs. But 1,338 yards, 12 touchdowns. The spread is 8.5 for Kansas City. Over under is 53. The money line for the Jaguars is plus 360, minus 480 on the money line. The theme right now that I have been noticing throughout each week with these Chiefs is they do not cover the spread, and some of these teams have been able to get a quick lead. So, if you're a bettor, you may want to take that money line Jaguars. They score, pull that money out. If you believe in them, let it ride. But I'm thinking KC takes this one.
Oh yeah,
but I
definitely.
don't think they cover the spread. I'm
You
going
don't
to
think
say they
8.5,
take
huh?
it, but I don't think they cover the spread.
So what do you think the spread's going to be? What do you think the spread between the two teams going to be? Less than 7?
This is playoff divisionals,
True.
right? You're
Best
going to
of the
have
best.
defense. You're going to have both defenses balling out. You're going to have both defenses going hard. I think it's going to be a field goal victory for
Oh,
Kansas City.
I think the same thing as you. I think Kansas City is definitely going to win it. But I think one person, and you may not know who I'm talking about here. Well, you're going to know after I say it. But he's not on offense. He's going to be a disruptor on the Jaguars, and that's Josh Allen. I like to say that name because Josh Allen from the Bills. But Josh Allen from the Jaguars, I think, is going to be a difference maker on that defense by far. I think he's gonna pressure Patrick Mahomes a lot to make some decisions. But the problem is, we know when Patrick Mahomes gets pressured, he can make quick decisions. He'll shuffle past the ball real quick. He'll do something that you would never expect. He'll throw the ball underhand if he had to. Because he could do that.
I was going to say they also got Walker over there as well.
Yes.
Walker, that's another one.
Yes.
He's another one that can put the pressure on Mahomes.
Yes.
And that's the thing, right? I said that the defense of the Jaguars, if they can step up and they can stop Mahomes from those sidearm passes and stop him from getting out of the pocket, because people forget that Mahomes on his feet is very dangerous. Not only can he throw, but he can run. So if they can figure out to slow down the run, they can put some clamps on Kelsey. We got ourselves a ball game.
Ball game here. True.
We got ourselves a ball game. With that said, I do think KC takes it at home. I think it's gonna be a wild one. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I would be surprised if it is. But it's the playoffs. We really don't know what's gonna happen. We really don't know. With that said, I'm going KC by 3.
KC as well. I'm not gonna give any numbers though. No points. Just KC overall, done deal.
KC money line.
There it is.
All right. Next up, we're gonna have these Giants and the Eagles. Now, Daniel Jones really surprised me against the Vikings for a couple of reasons. I knew that Daniel Jones could run, but the way that their offensive coordinator has figured out the scheme between Saquon and Jones running and throwing off the defenses with the pass game and the mid pass that Daniel Jones is doing, the man can throw. We've been watching and we've been streaming the games and stuff, but I really paid attention to what he was doing in that game against the Vikings, and the kid can throw. Now, granted, the Vikings defense is lacking in the secondary, right?
True.
So I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a different defense than the Eagles. You've got Jalen Hurts coming back, playoff implications. You're gonna see a different side of the Eagles, that's for sure. They're gonna play their hearts out. Dare I say, though, could this be another situation that it's a very close game and Daniel Jones finds a way to win with these Giants? Dable finds a way to win with these Giants. It would be really interesting to see the Giants in the NFC Championship. It really would. I see some of you guys saying Giants in the chat. What do we got? Giants. Okay. Eagles fans in the house? Sirius says Daniel Jones balled out like a veteran. Ronald says Philly win. Ryan says Eagles are overrated. Hurts in the playoffs is trash. Jerry says Eagles. Grifter says Eagles. Okay. So let's look at the odds here. Let's look at the spread. 19% for the Giants, 81% for the Eagles. We have Daniel Jones, 3,205 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Jalen Hurts with 3,701 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Saquon Barkley, 1,312 yards, 10 touchdowns. Sanders with 1,269 yards, 11 touchdowns. Slayton coming in with 724 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown with 1,496 yards, 11 touchdowns. Now, getting into the spread. Philly is favored by 7.5. Over and under is 48. Money line is 285. So, if I look at the last 5 opponents for the Eagles, they already beat the Giants 22-16. Obviously lost to New Orleans, Gardner Minshew 20-10. Dallas 40-34. They beat the Bears 25-20, and then they beat the Giants again 48-22. So, if you're the Giants, this team done beat you twice. All right? You're going in there, as a defense, you're going in there fired up. You're going in there ready to play. And you're coming with your A game because this team has already beat you twice. And what do they say about teams that beat other teams twice in the regular season? What happens?
Losing the playoffs, man.
They say they lose in the playoffs. So,
I'm gonna give my quick opinion. I know Saquon Barkley personally, so there's an emotional attachment there for me and the Giants. I used to live in New York for a long time, but shout out to Lil Wayne and Manny Fresh because go DJ, yo, that's my DJ. Daniel Jones is gonna do it. He's going to get the victory. Well, go DJ. Well, that's my DJ.
Man.
Daniel Jones getting it.
You going with the G-Men?
I'm going with the G-Men on this one, man. Saquon is going to go for $125. Daniel's putting 300 on the board. Easy. Go DJ. That's my DJ. Daniel Jones is going to get this one, man. Giants in the house.
So the mind is telling me Eagles, right? That's the logic. That's the logical pick. But the heart, right? The heart is like, you know what? Jones and company, Slayton might ball out. Saquon's going to ball out. Dable might find a way and put it in the game plan to win against these Eagles. So I think I'm gonna have to go with you. I think I'm gonna have to go with you on that one.
I'm gonna make it real. When they win this, I'm gonna make a reel using that song in the reel with some Daniel Jones highlights. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Period.
Let's go. David says the mind's playing tricks, Jay. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like Hurts is coming off of an injury. I feel like he may not play to his full potential. It'll be a good game, but they may just fall apart at some point. That's what I'm thinking. It may be the same kind of thing we've seen with the Vikings. It starts off as a good game, but Dable makes the right adjustments, and that defense comes up with some good plays.
True.
So,
again, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's probably one of the underestimated games, but I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. You guys know that obviously we will be streaming it Saturday, so make sure you lock it in and subscribe if you have not already. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Franklin Crocker Show as well. My man Franklin Crocker there.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Chiefs, Giants, next up. Bengals, Bills, Sunday, 3:00 at home. This is going to be absolutely ridiculous. This is the rematch. I'll tell you, before we even get into this, it's so important to understand what this game means, right? It's more than just the trophy. It's more than just the Lombardi, right? I understand that a lot of fans out there want their team to not only win, go on to the Super Bowl, but win a championship, have a title, bring something to their hometown. I'm sounding a little biased because I am a little biased. Buffalo has been through a lot this year, right? Not even just the DeMar situation, but with the mass shooting, with the storm events. There's been a lot of different things that's happened in Buffalo, and I feel like if the Bills can channel that energy and find a way to win and get to the Super Bowl and win it, they're going to bring a level of, I want to say, emotion, a level of heartwarming and fulfillment to Western New York and Buffalo and Bills Mafia fans all around the world, without a doubt. So, go ahead, Franklin.
Is this not the best storybook that you can write ever? Is this not a 30 for 30 if the Bills win the Super Bowl? Josh, you just said it spot on. The two snowstorms, the Buffalo Massacre, DeMar. They're now playing the same team again, but now switching the home field.
Yep.
I don't believe. Okay, could sports be fixed a little bit? I believe so. Within referees. This, again, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to like what I'm about to say right here. I apologize, but it is what it is. This is the perfect opportunity for the NFL to fix the league to allow the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Shout out to Tinfoil Hat Gang.
Just think about it. Think about how much this brings to us, a Buffalo town community and across the world from what Buffalo has been through and how they just stay striving, going after it, no matter what. Every month, every week, we criticize Josh at getting, declining a little bit. Seems like, he throws a little more interceptions. He makes mistakes. And again, you're going to always make mistakes. The game's not perfect. But it's when you make the mistakes, and Josh seems to make mistakes at the wrong times, the worst times to make the mistakes. But again, the storybook tale is the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl. And let's even go back to 1990 to 1993. Ooh, 4 times. Never been done before. It's probably never be done again. Remember, that was before the salary cap. 4 times.
Let me blow your mind. Let me blow your mind for a minute. Shout out to the real fans and the real people that know football. 1993, 30 years ago. I want people in the chat to go look at who the Bills had to beat to become the AFC champions and go to the Super Bowl. 30 years ago. Go look it up.
Do tell. Who is it?
I want to see if somebody gets it in the chat.
Okay. Oh, we're waiting for the chat. Let's see somebody get in the chat. 1993.
Says Dallas, question mark. Nope, it wasn't Dallas.
AFC.
It wasn't Dallas.
AFC. To get
it was for the Bills to become the AFC champions and go on to the Super Bowl. Who they have to beat in 93. 30 years ago.
Hint, hint, ladies and gentlemen, it's an AFC team, not NFC. I keep seeing NFC teams.
Right, it's an AFC team, guys. AFC team. Ryan says the Oilers. Nope. All right, I'm just going to tell you guys. 30 years ago, the Bills had to beat the Kansas City Chiefs to become the AFC champions and go on to the Super Bowl.
So if I'm lying, I'm flying. This is a perfect. And I didn't realize it. You're right. 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
That's crazy. So this is the perfect storybook again. Beating the Kansas City Chiefs again, and then finally win the Super Bowl after 30 years. You can't write a better storybook than that.
You can't.
You
can't. With that said, getting into the matchup predictor, 34.5% for the Bengals. 65.5% for the Bills. Joe Burrow, 4,475 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Josh Allen, 4,283 yards, 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. On the rushing side, 814 yards, 7 touchdowns for Mixon. Singletary with 819 yards, 5 touchdowns. On the receiving side, Jamar Chase with 1,046 yards, 9 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, can you dig it? 1,429 yards, 11 touchdowns. As far as the spread, Bills are favored by 5.5, plus 196 on the money line for the Bengals, minus 240 on the money line for the Bills. Over and under is 48.
I'm going with over for 48. I'm going to tell you that. It's going to be over 48 points.
I like the over.
I got to go with the hometown heroes, baby. Got to go with the hometown heroes. I mean, what are we talking about here? Go Buffalo.
Let's go. Let's go, Bills Mafia. But no, I definitely, without a doubt, also being a diehard Bills Mafia fan, I want to give a big shout out to the Bengals fans and the Bengals organization for everything that they did and how they contributed to the situation for Damar Hamlin. It's very important. I know a lot of people are super fans. I know a lot of people are diehards, and they kind of forget the need for appreciation for, you know, other teams and what they do in these kind of certain situations and circumstances. So it's very important to you know, for us Bills fans to show appreciation and realize that it was very it was very kind of the Bengals fans and the Bengals organization for what they did during the situation. So much love to the Bengals, first and foremost, and much respect to the Bengals organization as well.
And just to add on to that real fast, even on the football level of it, the Bengals got screwed after this. Yeah. They were winning the game. We ended the game 7-3. And, you know, we had to go with the whole flip the coin, heads or tails, old school. I mean, they were a class act organization because they could have been more pissed than they were.
Oh yes, no, without a doubt.
They had an opportunity to be that number 1 seed as well.
Yeah,
and they ended up becoming the number 3 seed based off of everything that happened. And they could have fought it. They could have fought it, but said, you know what, we're just rolling it how it is, and we're not going to fight the system. Just let it happen. And I respect them for that. To be honest, I really respect them for that.
And I'll say this, you know, for anyone that's been mad about the situation and the circumstances that happened, realize that this game is basically your rematch. Mm-hmm. So if the Bengals were going to beat the Bills, they've got an opportunity to do it on Sunday.
Away though, this time.
Obviously away. That's just a reality. All right, so you already know what we're doing here. Next up, this will be the last game of the divisionals. Cowboys and the 49ers. This is all right. Cowboys fans, I love y'all. I really do. This is probably going to be the biggest game of Dak Prescott's career.
By far.
By far. This is the biggest game of Dak Prescott's career. If he can figure out how to get through this defense, if the running game from Pollard and Zeke can figure out how to get through that defense, if your defense on the Cowboys side can stop Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk,
Kittles,
and George Kittle, there is a lot to unpack here. All right. I know that it's very easy to just be like, oh, 49ers or oh, Dallas. No, there's a lot to unpack here. And I basically think that this may probably be the game of the divisionals.
It's almost like a Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl as a divisional. Dude, this is a crazy game here. Mm-hmm. And I give the Dallas defense a lot of credit. I love Parsons. I love Diggs. This is going to be their most difficult challenge ever, by far. And both of them, remember, they both have very early young careers. This is going to be their most difficult challenge for both of those guys. Parsons is amazing. I looked him up the other day. 6'3", I think 215, 220.
Yeah.
Not a big guy, but man, he's solid. He's like a linebacker, a strong safety, a quarterback. This guy can play every position.
He's fast. He's fast. He's big.
He did a spin move that reminded me of like, oh my good, like the spin move he did to one of the linemen. I'm like, yo, this dude is amazing. His footwork is phenomenal, but he's never won against. You just named 5 players, 5 offensive juggernauts that he's never really matched up with before, and it's going to be a very tough, very tough defending these guys here by far.
And you have a strong defense and the 49ers, considering the points that they've been allowing, right? Considering how they're able to get back there. Nick Bosa, the man's got records. Okay. Nick Bosa's got records, you guys. All right. So when you stack up the defense from the 49ers versus the Cowboys, I have to give the edge to the 49ers. I have to.
By far.
And that's not to say that the Cowboys don't have a great defense, because they do. I have to give the edge to the 49ers because of look at the points. Look at the points that they're allowing. Now, on the flip side, on the offense, you got a great run game in Zeke. You got a great run game in Tony Pollard. You've got CeeDee Lamb. You know, you've got Fant. You've got, drawing this blank here.
Galloway?
Gallup. Yeah, you got Gallup.
Gallup.
And great receivers. But what I noticed in the last, I want to say, even against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, I noticed that Dak took a lot of time to get it together. And let's keep in mind, and I hate to say this, Dallas beat an old, washed-up Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
They beat an old, washed-up Tom Brady. Tom Brady should have never been in the playoffs. Let's keep it real. It was a fluke that they even got there. They got there just because their record was the best, and the record was garbage. We have to keep it real.
They had the worst division in the league, by far.
By far. So Tom Brady should have never been there. Now, granted, it was fun to see him there. Obviously, I had a rivalry going, so I had to take Tom. It's just what it is. But the reality is, when you look at what Tom was doing up until this point, he was destined to fail. Drop passes, inaccuracy, he's getting beat up back there. So at the end of the day, Dak Prescott beat an ailing and aged Tom Brady. Now he's coming into a strong, young offense, ready to go. And keep in mind, these 49ers do have playoff experience. Some of these 49ers already have playoff experience.
Shout out to It's Dexy. He just brought up they just brought up, I don't know if it was his or they just brought up a good point. What do you do about the kicker, man? The Cowboys. They missed 4 extra points in a row. 4. We go back to Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4.
So guess what? You need all of them field goals against the 49ers. You need all of them extra points. You need all those. You need every point that you can get with them 49ers. You miss extra points against them 49ers, you're going to lose the game. You are going to lose the game.
Finito, you're done. Stick a fork on them. You miss 4 extra points. 4 points can make or break this game here, man.
Oh yeah. The spread is hold on. Oh, you guys are gonna kick out of this one. So he missed 4 field goals, right?
4
or 4 extra points. The spread in this one is 4 points. 49ers are favored by 4. The over-under is 46. Cowboys are plus 170 on the money line, minus 205 or minus 205 in the money line for the 49ers. That's really tight of a money line. It's really tight of a spread as well. That lets you know that it's going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be a defensive battle. I'm sure that Brady is. I'm sure that Vegas is not sold on Brock Purdy. Vegas isn't too sold on Brock Purdy, and a lot of people aren't. So, I've been bigging up the kid for how many weeks now? Ever since he took over and started winning and became undefeated with his record. So, I feel if Brock Purdy can do exactly what he's been doing, the Cowboys defense is in for a long night. I'm going to have to go 49ers. I'm going to have to.
I keep getting in the chat. Is my mic better now? Can you hear me? Yay, nay. Give me a thumb up, thumb down. Where's my area? Thumbs up, thumb down. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Is Franklin good?
I'm good.
I can hear you. Your Ryan
You
says
can hear me?
yes.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and also one other thing too. What does the San Francisco 49ers do next year about their quarterbacks? Ooh, because
Good
now
question.
Garoppolo is most likely going to be gone. But
Yep.
now you got Purdy in the mix now. Do they fight for it? They sling it out in training camp? Do you
I
get
don't.
Purdy the job?
I'll be honest. I feel like Lance might be gone.
Ooh, that's a big statement right
I
there.
feel like Lance might be gone, right? Because Jimmy came back. He was doing what he was supposed to do, which led the way for Brock. Remember, Lance was shaky in the beginning. Lance was real shaky. Nobody really knew if he was going to be good. And he kind of fell off before he got injured. So then Jimmy came in, started winning. He goes down. Brock takes over and carries on the torch. So now you're looking at Lance like, well, he's the dispensable one, right? Because now you're making a decision to say, well, let's start Brock next year and have Jimmy as his second.
Or do you
And then
keep
what they
Lance?
might ultimately end up doing is trading off Lance to someone else who needs him that can take the time to develop or, But I will say this. That'll probably only happen if Purdy goes to the Super Bowl. Right? I think he has to make it to the Super Bowl for that to happen, for it to be that narrative. But he's in a position to do so. And I think, you know what I think? I think people hate the fact that he's in that position, right? It's not about his name, even though Purdy is his last name. They want to make fun of his last name, which is fine. It's not his last name. It's the fact that he's a rookie and nobody's ever heard of him and he's came out of nowhere and he's winning. They don't like that. Right?
I.e. Tom Brady.
Exactly. What did Tom Brady do? Came out of nowhere. Became the greatest of all time. Now we're not going to say that's good that Brock
I'm not
Purdy's
saying
going to
Tom
do
Brady,
that.
but coming out of nowhere, doing
Yeah.
your thing is actually probably a better situation to be in because nobody knows who you are, so you're under the radar. When you're under the radar, you can do a lot of extra things, and he fits into the system that they have. He has a ton of pieces, and not to say I can do it, but I can probably. No, I'm excited. But he fits into the system very well, and that takes a lot. And when you look at it as an organization, they're not paying him a lot of money. You got to keep this guy.
Oh yeah.
You got to keep him.
People forget that he's on a rookie contract.
Horrible contract.
Yeah.
They're not paying him scraps.
So he's looking at it like, all right, I'm going to ball out, get my team to the Super Bowl, right? Because regardless what happens, he got the team to the Super Bowl. He can basically have a blank check next year.
Easy.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like it's going to be a great game. At the end of the day, like I said, I feel like if Brock Purdy can do what he's been doing, it's going to be a long day for the Cowboys defense. Brock Purdy's going to have, Dak is going to have some trouble. Dak's going to have some trouble. He's going to have to be poised back there. He's going to have to take his time. He's going to have to utilize that running game a little bit more, because that defensive line for the 49ers, they're coming. They're coming. He's not going to have much time to make decisions back there.
I'm San Fran all the way, dog. I just don't even know ifs, ands, and buts about it. Dak, don't get me wrong, had an amazing game last week. I think he went for 11 for 11, the first time to ever be done in the playoffs in a franchise, in the Cowboys franchise. I like CeeDee Lamb, but he started off, I think he dropped like 2 or 3 passes, like some easy passes at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Easy at the beginning of the game. I'm not really comfortable with his wide receiver core, to be honest with you. My perfect example. Just Zeke, I'm not really comfortable with Zeke. Pollard is probably the most dynamic player on the team. They just San Fran has too many weapons, man. Way too many weapons. I got to go with San Fran on this one.
I'll say this too, and I'll say this in favor of Dak Prescott. People were so mad because he was at such a slow start and it was looking fairly bad that they were like throwing Cooper Rush, right? And he obviously comes back. He makes some adjustments and ends up winning the game. Believe in your quarterback. No matter who he is. Believe in your quarterback. And those were Cowboys fans that was throwing Dak under the bus.
That's sad.
They were like, get him out of there. Put in Cooper.
Fair weather fans. I never want my backup in unless my guy's throwing like 5 or 6 interceptions. That's another story. But you got to give a starting quarterback the opportunity to, like you said before, he made the adjustments. And after he made the adjustments, the guy, I mean, he balled out after that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We have to give credit to Dak Prescott at the end of the day. He did what he was supposed to do to win, beat Tom Brady, and he gave it his all. He played a great game. Now, like I said, this was a terrible Buccaneers team. So what happens when you put Dak Prescott and company against a well-oiled machine that's great on defense, that knows what they're doing on offense, they're clicking on all cylinders, and they have the chemistry to be great? That's what's in question. That's not being biased. I'm a Bills fan. I've been watching the 49ers every week just like you guys. Been streaming these games. When you look at what the 49ers have to offer over Dallas, it's basically like someone handing you $1 versus a 50-cent piece. I'm just being honest. Is it going to be a great game? Yes, it will. But I got to go 49ers.
I'm going the same way. I'm going 49ers. It's going to be a great, but it's good. I think it's going to be a great game. Does Dallas have a chance to win? Of course, any given Sunday. Some turnovers happen or some punt returns, something that's just unorthodox that happened in the game could make or break the game. Somebody gets hurt, can change the game around. I never wish that on anybody, but if everything stays the same and everything is equal, I give it to San Fran. Yeah, by far.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, just okay. I mean, by that theory, we'll do this, Jonas. Yeah, I know I got to come with the numbers when Jonas step in the building. So here we go. All right, points per game: 27.5 for the Cowboys, 26.5 for the 49ers. Points allowed: 14 for the Cowboys, 23 for the 49ers. Yards 365 for the Cowboys, 377 for the 49ers. Here we go. Here's the kicker. Here's the real kicker. Passing yards allowed, 351 versus 49ers, 253.
Huge.
Rushing yards allowed, 52 versus 104. But keep in mind, these are playoff stats. These are playoff stats. So you're looking at a run game that failed down there in Tampa with Fournette and White. You're not going to see a failed running game from McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel.
No, not at all.
That's all I got to say.
And Deebo is probably one of their. I mean, again, I love McCaffrey. I think he was a huge pickup. Probably one of the, matter of fact, the best pickup this year, in my opinion. But Deebo, Deebo, what he means to that team is phenomenal. He could play receiver. He can play running back. I mean, the guy is
multi-purpose dynamic. Him and McCaffrey, they can both catch and they can both run. So when you have those two back there, it's a dynamic duo, and it creates problems for you as a defensive coordinator figuring out what to do. How do you stop them? Because McCaffrey's almost guaranteed to get you 100 yards on the ground.
Easy. I mean, he is an amazing player. And then again, and you can't focus on one player. That's what's so crazy about this team. Because again, a lot of teams will go with a double team. I'm gonna double team this guy. I'm gonna double team that guy, and I'm gonna make you beat me with somebody else. Well, you can't do that with this team because every single last one of those 5 players can beat you. You can't double any one of them up. You got to play those guys single up, and you just got to Purdy has to make the decision on throwing it to the right person and making the right decision when he's making in the audibles he decides to make. That's it. Oh, yeah. If he can make the right audibles and if he can make the right decision and throw the ball, it's a done deal. It's easy. You can't beat him.
Would you say, and this is a good question, would you say at this point Brock Purdy has enough experience under his belt to do what he needs to do to win this game?
Yes, and you know what's crazy about this? And I know I made a stupid comparison to Tom Brady, and I apologize. He's not a Tom Brady by far, so he's not that. But you got to remember, he didn't play the whole season. Ooh.
Yeah.
What did he start with? 5-6 games ago? Before the playoffs, I'm talking about.
Six games, yeah.
6 games ago.
Yeah.
So for a gentleman to not be known, to start 6 games ago and to go, he hasn't lost a game, has he? I don't think he's lost a game.
He hasn't lost a game. No, he's undefeated.
Think about that. He's undefeated. And he hasn't played any bums. He played some good players, some good teams. To go as this far, and if he can win a Super Bowl, dog, he's not going to win a Super Bowl. Let me remind that. If he can go to the Super Bowl, he's not going to win the Super Bowl because the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. But if he goes to the Super Bowl, that's saying a lot, man. For a gentleman that played 6 games in the regular season, they go off their playoff run, winning 3 games in the playoff run.
It's very significant. And if you want to create a story around it, you can. And we all know that the NFL loves stories, right? That's just the reality of it. The NFL loves stories. He would be a story. He's definitely a Cinderella story if it does happen that way. Obviously, we will see Sunday night at 8:15 right here on J Reason.
Ooh.
And if you guys have not, like I said, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Also, subscribe to the Franklin Crocker Show. Show my man some love. And look at the records of who Purdy has played. So, Bob, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what the record was given to him. He won those games.
Yes.
And he won those games convincingly, right? It wasn't like he just won the game by a point or two. He beat Seattle 41-23, beat Arizona 38-13. Obviously beat the Raiders 37-34. That was a little closer, but the Commanders 37-20, which the Cowboys lost to the Commanders 26-6. So when we say that, look at who he's played and beaten, you can't say that when he beat the Commanders and the Cowboys lost to them.
He beat the Dolphins.
We can't pick and choose there.
He beat the Dolphins 33-17. So, I mean, the kid is on the road, man. It's an NFL. I mean, he's playing against other NFL teams. No matter what the record may say, they're still NFL teams. And you just said it earlier, the Commanders. I mean, the Commanders upset 2 different teams this year, with the Cowboys and the Vikings, right?
Yeah. So, upsets.
Any given Sunday.
And keep in mind, Mr. Bias, I actually had the Cowboys for that game, for that Commanders game. So I was left holding the bag that night. I was left holding the bag because I put my money on the Cowboys against the Commanders. How unfortunate that one was.
Well, again, this is going to be a great game. I'm looking for. I mean, every game this week is going to be a great game, but this is definitely going to be a great game to look forward to because I think the winner, to be honest, my opinion, the winner of this game goes to Super Bowl. Period.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
If Dallas can win, they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with that. There'll be NFC champions, goes to the bowl, and then obviously that'll be America's team in the Super Bowl, which would be great to see because we haven't seen them there in a while.
What, 2000 something? Since Troy Aikman was the last person, right?
Last Cowboys.
Yeah, the ball had to go. It was 1993. It was when they beat the Bills.
No, the Steelers, 96.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was 96.
Got it.
Yeah, they beat the Steelers 27-17. So, yeah, it's been a long time for the Cowboys as well. I know a lot of people like to talk about the last time the Bills went to the Super Bowl. Well, it's been a long time for them Cowboys, too. Shout out to Jonas coming through with a $10 super chat. Says Micah Parsons and this defense will tuck Purdy to bed. They haven't played a top 5 defense. If the Raiders can hang on, so can we. We beat the Commanders in the first meeting. Dak will prevail. Go Cowboys. Shout out to you, Jonas, for the $10 super chat. I was definitely expecting you to come through saying something strong like you always do. There it is. Jonas has spoken about the Cowboys, letting us know. I've been giving my props to Dak Prescott, and we both have been giving this props to the Cowboys defense for the last 15 minutes.
It's a lot.
I feel like there is a slight advantage for the 49ers, and I don't think I'm wrong in that statement. You can be a Cowboys fan and admit that and hope that your team wins and beat them. You can admit that.
True. And on paper, by far, I mean, Stanford, it's just on paper. Again, paper does sometimes.
It's on paper. Yeah.
But on paper, Stanford has a better team on paper. But again, we all know every given Sunday, they made a movie about it for a reason, because things do change depending on what Sunday it is and, you know, how you wake up and the sun and whatever it is you're looking at. But it is every given Sunday. And, you know, Dak is going to say, I'm going to say this. Dak is going to have to play his best game. Last week was a phenomenal game that he played. He's going to have to play a better game than that to beat San Francisco. Not to say he can't. I think I like Dak. I think Dak's a great quarterback, but he's going to have to play a flawless game. I'm talking about Mortal Kombat, flawless victory, finish him.
Quick shout out to TV Trucking. You said Lamar Jackson says he's ready this week. That's hilarious. That's a whole nother topic. I'm really interested to see what happens to Lamar. I really want to know if he's going to leave the Ravens because he won't get the money that he wants. You know, that's definitely going to be a conversation that we're going to have again when it comes up. I don't think he stays with the Ravens. I think he goes somewhere else where they're going to try to pay him as much money as they can because they need a good quarterback. And he's worth it. It's unfortunate he got injured, but the Ravens are going to basically use that to their advantage in regards to not having to pay him the amount of money that he should get. And that's the reality.
Agreed. I feel the same way. He's going to have to leave to get that bag that he's looking for. You know, in my opinion only, he should have took a guarantee earlier, smaller contract, and then after that's done, dip anyway. He would have got the money. But he's decided to hold off as long as he did. He gets hurt, and now if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm like, okay, you're not worth it at this point. I'm going to run with Huntley and develop him. So
shout out to Sirius Biz, says a foot of snow coming tomorrow, getting prepared. Yeah, Sirius, snow's coming. Snow is on the way. If you're on the East Coast, definitely make sure you got your food and your water.
A foot of snow, that's it? Come on, man. What are you talking about? A foot of snow? Y'all realize we just got 8 feet of snow in November?
We literally just had 8 feet, like what, about a month ago, right?
In November. No, December, we got
twice.
4 feet of snow. Yeah, we got twice. We got slapped twice.
Yeah.
We had 12 feet of snow in 2 months. Think about that. 12 feet of snow in 2 months. Not inches, feet.
Yep. So Jonas says, Jerry's, and did you know that Lamar is his own agent? Before he got hurt, the Ravens was 8-4. Yeah, Jonas, I made the video about it like 6 months ago. Me and Franklin actually did that video.
We did that video together.
Yeah. His mom is actually his agent. He's not his own agent. His mom is his agent. His mom does the agent work for him. Which, I mean, me and Franklin agree that may be a mistake to a degree, right? Because she may not have the connections and she may not have the the handshakes behind the closed doors to make certain deals happen and certain.
She ain't on the golf course. I can tell you that. She ain't on the golf course making deals.
Yeah. She's not at the golf course making deals. She's not in these boardrooms making the deals. She's not having the conversations that need to happen for Lamar to get the money that he needs. So, Lamar probably does need to get, a proper agent, or if he's going to have his mom do it, have her work with a couple, people that know how to get things done, with her having obviously control of the situation as much as needed. So yeah, there you go.
That's it, man. And again, my opinion. I said it a couple months ago. I feel like in order to get the bag that you really want, you need an agent.
Yep.
Yes, you're gonna have to pay a percentage of that away. I get it, but you're losing out much more than the percentage you're paying that agent to do it for you. And historically, if that agent has other players that they've gotten great big deals for, you can use that historical data to help your scenario now. She doesn't have that. She doesn't
No,
have all that
no.
old data of certain players of getting this bag and that bag. She just doesn't have that. She's never
Well,
going to go with that. So,
and people forget too, like certain agents have a kind of bargaining power, right? And you get the bargaining power by having the years of experience and by having these kind of contracts and these kind of numbers to, just like you said. It's kind of like when you look at a house, when you have compare the property values and things like that, where you say, well, this property did this property did this, so this is what it's worth. So if she's not able to go into these meetings and have these specific kind of numbers and things like that, or the people backing this kind of information, that's because it's not just about playing. Everything goes into the contract. People think just because someone's a great player, they get this amazing contract. No, personality, business acumen, talent, injuries, all that stuff is a key portion of the making a decision as far as the contract. How long the person's going to play for? How many years do they have left? How old are they? All that stuff goes into the contract. So if your agent does not know what they're doing, you're not going to get the money that you should get. And that's why a lot of the people, they just go for the best.
And again, I respect the decision and him and his mother's decision of what they're doing. It's I think it's a longer road to the riches of what they're trying to do. But again, to each his own. I respect it. I'm not going to knock it. But if I was him, I would probably choose an agent. And again, you feel like your mother has your best interest, and she does, but she just doesn't know enough to get you what you really are trying to get. And they're trying to compare it to Watson. I get that too, but guess what? Guess what the difference is? Watson had an agent.
Watson, no matter what happened, no matter if you hate the guy, you love the guy, Watson had an agent. Quick shout out to Nomad for the $20 super chat. It says Bills or Bengals win AFC, end of story. I like them both, and they are both good. So Nomad, you should be happy no matter what happens on Sunday at 3:00. Shout out to you though for the $20. Thanks a lot for the support. We Bills Mafia here though. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. Shout out to you. So yeah, it's at the end of everything that we've talked about, and at the end of these playoffs, the divisionals, I really think that it's been a great year for football. I think it's been very surprising. I'm just glad that we were able to be back and have a full year without there not being too many issues. I think a big thing that people forget about is at the beginning of the season, we had so many injuries, right? And everyone was like, wow, like there's so many injuries. And it was because, people missing practice or not, having proper practice or enough. And I feel like
one less preseason game as well.
Well, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
Yeah. I said one less preseason game as well.
Yeah, one less preseason game as well. I think this was a longer season too. This was a longer NFL season too. So I think it was great that we had a lot of good football this year. There was some bad games. There were some really interesting prime time games that we were streamed, and we're like, what the hell is going on? But for the most part, it was good. It was good. And Master Jer said I took the Bills to the Super Bowl on Madden. Shout out to you, Master Jer. Much love, man. Did you win? That's the question. You took them there, but did you win? Tristan says Chiefs Kingdom, go Bills. He wants that Bills and KC rematch. I see you, Tristan.
Let me give a shout out to Steven real fast. Steven said he wants to see the Cowboys and the Bills go to Super Bowl against the Diggs brothers. Ooh.
A lot of people have been mentioning that. Actually, Jonas mentions that a lot too. The Diggs brother in the Super Bowl would be good for football. That would be good for football. That'd be another good story. There's so many different ways you can go. obviously we'll know further between Saturday and Sunday, and we'll see how this plays out. Guys, I want to give a quick shout out to Franklin from the Franklin Crocker Show showing up. Make sure you guys show him love, subscribe to his channel, check him out. I want to give a big thanks to all the subscribers out there. The Wrench Gang, shout out to the family. Much love to you guys for holding it down. Got some more content coming up for you guys over the next couple of days. If I do not see you, or if you don't watch one of those videos, I'm sure I will see you guys on Saturday. Stream schedule for Saturday will be Jaguars Chiefs at 4:30. After that, the night game will be Giants versus Eagles at 8:15. Sunday is going to be Bengals Bills at 3 o'clock. Cowboys 49ers at 6:30. Make sure you lock it in, subscribe, click the bell to be notified of all future streams and content moving forward. Everybody have a good night.
God bless. Good night. I'll see you when I look at you. Deuces.
Peace out.
All right.